Exactly. And that's where I look at the digital world now. And you guys do such a great job of being out there on social media. And I just get overwhelmed by it. And so for me, because I do work in the shop and have a lot to do with the shopkeepers, for me, it's really important for us to have more shops, for people to have places to go to talk about it. If somebody's having like libido issues, for them to actually be able to come and talk to somebody in a safe, non-judgmental space, or if they've got addiction issues. And so the value in the shops, we could promote the digital world and the online world so much more than we do. But what we're working on now is really renovating the franchise. And we were talking about magnetism in business. I had this little thing, magnetize, don't advertise. So what we're creating now is a new, our little Happy Herb Learning Hub, a digital space for all of our team to come together. And we're trying to infuse and infect and make sure it's kept alive, that desire and consistency of how we're talking to people and how important it is. And the more we shine from the inside, the more we'll attract more people to be in the stores for that. And I've never met anybody who works in our shops that isn't like, oh my God, I love it, and I helped this person today. And as much as we try with live chat on the online store and things like that to keep that going, it's just amazing. It just breeds an energy by having the shops. And so that's what we're doing now, is more shops. That we're opening ourselves up as a franchise. We've completely right in the process of redoing the model and really attracting people who want to have a business for themselves, but be part of a bigger collective and a bigger force for good.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really been, for the years I've been looking at, how we move forward with the company for its survival. And once again, always coming back to that mission for Herbs is, okay, well, which serves the mission for Herbs most, about promoting the appreciation and the accessibility. And it's always that people-to-people human interaction.
You have that access to the UK store, which is cool. But in terms of like the HQ team, how do you stay in touch with the feedback and the results that you're getting? Do you have like a direct feedback loop where you get to hear with what happened to this woman at her menstruation, with this person and their addiction? Do you get to hear it constantly?
Well, we get it to some extent. There's some franchisees that we're very close and in dialogue with all the time. And so Nick, our business manager, he's always the one on the phone and talking to everyone. When we went into retraction a few years ago and it started to change, we all became our own little separate entities, so to speak. But now this is what I'm working on now, is rebuilding that connection. So we are sharing ideas. And so we just brought out a new smoking blend, super chilled. And it was one of the shop staff was like, oh, I really love smoking wild lettuce with Combretum and putting this together. And we're like, all right, well, we'll make a blend with that. And so then we take it to the team and we're formulating, all right, well, how do you get this to smoke smooth and be unfortunately, smoking is very bad for your health, but a lot of people do come to us for alternatives, and some herbs can actually provide a lot of anxiety relief through that. So then we get to design it and we go, all right, well, how's this making you feel? And the designer goes on a whole exploration of that. So everything's got its own personality as well.
That's cool. I mean, a franchise model that has that, I've never really thought about franchises that much, to be honest, in the ins and outs and what you're going through in terms of everyone's like, oh yeah, once a business gets to a point where everyone's like, all right, they're just doing their own thing and they're not really connected, and let's just keep it in this like superficial business transaction. I don't think people would appreciate just how hard it is to like turn a ship back in the direction where there's like integration, and not even for the lack of want from everyone. I'm sure you guys want it, the franchisees want it, but to actually, it's like when a business grows up, I can imagine, I'm just thinking of examples in my own and my friends' businesses, it goes through these ruptures and it's like, all right, well now do you ossify and just stay there and just go and like make it kind of standard business, or do you go through the repair process no matter what it takes? And that's probably the difference between someone, if Ray got to the point and you didn't come along and he's just like, oh, you know what, bugger it, there's just that person there, they know business, good, you take over, wouldn't have the sensitivity to be like, no, this is worth 3 years. Really, really solid like resources pouring into this area of the business. It would have just been like, no, the way is digital and online, and let's just like, get as many as possible. So these are the little things, I guess, if everyone listening, these are the little things around when we talk about businesses that have their own realized soul. These are the things where you talk to the business and you go, what do you want to become? And it's an objective thing. You can feel the spirit's going to abandon if you ossify and you keep a level of disconnect between areas of the business. So I think it's cool hearing that. And I think as much as everyone would normally go, just complete digital online store, that's where it's at. Others, you'd be like, yeah, there's a part of it for sure. But on another level, physical, everyone's all of a sudden going to get so sick of the AI and the digital world. I know this sounds funny. A lot of the time, I don't like buying online, and I will go and find a store where I can just have an interaction, even though it's probably, sometimes like way more inconvenient, just to kind of have that level of interaction directly with the product before I buy it. Herbs, like I can imagine, with that level, that many herbs as well. I can imagine your community is going to appreciate that move.
Yeah. And it's always been a dilemma because on the one hand, looking at it from a business point of view is, okay, the online store is a lot easier to manage and the margins are better and things like that. And so with all of our social media, we did a big turn last year was we want to talk about a herb or a product and everybody, you've got to put shop now, you're going to put a discount on it, you're going to encourage people to buy on the spot. And so I ended that a couple of years ago. It's been a transition to get the digital marketing team to completely understand it. But it's really like, no, it's only on our social medias if it's learn now. And so we do Google advertising for some of the products, but the geolocation is around the shop. So that doesn't, so anywhere we don't have a shop, we can advertise, but pretty much all our social media is really about building that ethos and community connection.